Hey YouTube, some time ago I compared the SCUF Infinity 1 Xbox controller with the Microsoft Elite controller. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out at the end of this video. Anyway, I mention this because quite a few viewers commented on the video saying that there is a better option when it comes to pro Xbox controllers. What is that better option? Well, it's the Razer Wolverine Ultimate controller. Now, Razer is well known for making PC gaming computers and peripherals such as mice, keyboards and headsets. They are known for Chroma Lighting and not necessarily being cheap. They do also happen to make a few peripherals for the consoles, namely the PS4 and Xbox One. When it comes to Xbox, they make two controllers, the Wolverine Tournament Edition and the Wolverine Ultimate Edition. As it happens, these two controllers also work on Windows 10, so if you want to use a controller on your PC, then this controller has your back. The Tournament Edition is the cheaper of the two controllers with a few less features than the Ultimate Edition. However, we are here to talk about the Ultimate Edition. In this review, I'm going to talk through the following categories. Number 1, features. Number 2, design and style. Number 3, customization. Number 4, the companion software. Number 5, the price. Number 6, using the controller. Number 7, an overall summary. Now, before I get started, please remember to subscribe before you leave and get notifications to ensure that you don't miss out on future videos, especially the Wolverine versus Elite video that will come out after this video. The first thing that I talk about is the reason why most people will be looking at a controller like the Razer Wolverine Ultimate. What features does the Wolverine have that sets it apart from any other controllers out there that are on the market? Let's take a look at them briefly now, but I'll go into more detail later on in the video. Number 1, works with Windows 10 and Xbox One. If you game on PC casually and can't get used to mouse and keyboard, this controller will not only support you on Xbox, but you can just plug it into your PC and use it there. Number 2, built-in headset adapter, which is called the Quick Control Panel. This allows you to adjust the game volume, game chat volume, and mute your headset microphone without the need for a separate adapter or controls. Number 3, 2 remappable bumpers and 4 remappable triggers. 6 completely new buttons can be found on the controller that can be remapped to almost any other button on the controller using Razer's SYNAPSE software, or you can quick map buttons using a button on the quick control panel. Number 4, interchangeable thumbsticks. If you like a slightly longer thumbstick or a thumbstick with a dome top, the Razer lets you swap it out in an instant. A single tool concave stick and a single regular height dome stick come included, along with 2 standard size concave sticks. Number 5, interchangeable D-pad. You have 2 D-pad options here. One has independent buttons for each of the 4 main directions, and one has a more standard rocker D-pad that makes it easier to press all 8 available directions. Number 6, Razer Chroma Lighting. Razer has become known for its lighting. The Wolverine controller comes with a lighting strip that runs around the bottom of the Xbox button and has a number of options when it comes to light patterns. Number 7, rapid fire trigger stops. If you don't like having a long press distance on the triggers, enable the trigger stops, which shortens the pressing distance so that you can pull the trigger more rapidly. Number 8, support for 2 different controller profiles. Each profile is made up of a collection of button mappings, lighting settings, and vibration settings. This is controlled via the quick control panel. Number 9, tactile ABXY buttons. The ABXY buttons on this controller have a shorter press distance, allowing you to press them faster with less effort. It's actually more like clicking a mouse button than a normal controller button. Number 10, a quick release cable. Yes, the controller is wired, but it can be disconnected quickly and safely from the controller itself or at the Xbox end of the cable. It's a wired controller as it's designed for competition use. Being wired means no input lag and provides the best performance. Number 11, a 3.5mm audio port. This supports all standard gaming headsets that use a 3.5mm jack. Number 12, a carry case. It comes with a carry case, no explanation needed for this one. Now, there might be a bit more to it that I'm missing, but if there is, it's very minor. That's quite an impressive list of features. The question is, do these features deliver? The Razer Wolverine is quite a beast. To me, it's not the prettiest or sleekest looking controller out there though. I think this is mainly because of the quick control panel that is at the bottom of it. It's not a big controller. The size of it is on par with standard controllers, I would say, but there are some key differences, with the panel being the main thing that just jumps out at you when you see it. The grips have a bit of extra shape to them, which I would guess is to add some ergonomics. I find them a little uncomfortable though, due to the way I need to hold the controller in order to use all of the triggers and buttons. I found my trigger fingers pushing against them, leaving an indentation on my finger. First world problems, I know. That aside though, it's a nicely designed controller. The font on the A, B, X, Y buttons is really smooth, the lighting looks good, even though it's a gimmick that doesn't really add anything, and it does a good job of making you feel like you're holding something special. The only main downside about the design is the additional triggers and bumpers placement, which I'll talk about in the using the controller section of this review. Customization, one of the key functions of this controller. However, it's not as customizable as some of its counterparts that are out on the market. Here's a quick run through of how you can tweak this controller to suit your needs. First up, nice and easy, the hair triggers. When you are playing a racing game, for example, you want standard trigger settings, as the brake and accelerator will be analog and apply different levels of power depending on how far you are squeezing the trigger. When you switch to a first-person shooter and you are aiming and shooting with the triggers, all you need is a simple on-off switch. By switching on the hair triggers, you can squeeze the trigger as firmly as you like, but it will have a shorter travel distance, meaning that you can instinctively squeeze it again faster than you would without the hair triggers enabled. Thumbsticks. The thumbsticks on the Wolverine are held on by magnets. They won't just fall off, but when you apply a little pressure, you can just pull them off nice and easily. You can then install a different stick by simply pressing it down onto the thumbstick base. You only get one tool stick and one dome stick. This does limit the level of customization here, as you have to choose whether you want to switch out the left or the right stick. The D-pad. Here you've got two options. The independent 4-button D-pad means you will never accidentally press a diagonal direction. It is also very difficult to press a diagonal direction with this D-pad. For a game like Rainbow Six Siege, where the D-pad only performs functions on the up, down, left and right buttons, this is fine. For a game such as Mortal Kombat, you need to have 8-way direction buttons easily available. This is where the rocker D-pad comes into play and is more in line with a standard controller D-pad. I personally use the standard rocker D-pad as it just feels easier. Chroma Lighting. You can change the lighting strip on the controller to express your mood while you play. You can have the lighting breathe 2 different colors or random colors. You can have it light up when you press a button. You can even have it cycle through several million colors constantly. It's just a visual thing. Yes, it looks really cool, but I never look at the controller when I play. Because of this, I have no need to set it up to light only when the controller vibrates or when I press a button. It's a pure gimmick. A cool gimmick, yes, but a gimmick nonetheless. Finally, on the customization list, the main reason that most people buy controllers like this: additional remappable buttons. There are 6 of them. 6! You get 2 in between the bumpers and triggers, and you get another 4 on the back of the controller too. Now, before you get too excited, these buttons can only be remapped to perform functions already available on a standard controller and existing in the code of the game you are playing. For Rainbow Six Siege fans, no, you still can't lean without aiming down sights. Unlike other controllers with remappable buttons, this controller adds 2 additional functions: focus and agile. Focus is a function that allows you to reduce the sensitivity of the thumbsticks. This means that you can have a high sensitivity in your game, but when you press whatever button focus is mapped to, the sensitivity then reduces while that button is pressed. Unlike some other controllers like this, you can only remap the additional buttons. You cannot remap the A button to perform the functionality of the B button, for example. The standard Xbox controllers allow this remapping through Xbox software, so I don't know why Razer has decided not to allow it. To customize the Wolverine, you need to use the Razer SYNAPSE software, whether you're using Xbox or PC. This is not a problem, it's all free to download. This software allows you to customize the following things on your controller. Number 1, button mapping for the 6 extra buttons. You can do this without the software if you choose to, but it's a lot more fiddly. Number 2, lighting color and pattern of the Chroma Lighting strip. Number 3, refine the focus settings for each thumbstick. Number 4, refine the agile settings for each thumbstick. Number 5, the vibration strength in the triggers and grips. And number 6, apply 2 different controller setups to the onboard controller memory. Let's take a deeper look at these options. Mapping the 6 extra buttons is pretty straightforward. Simply open the menu, scroll to the button that you want to remap and select the new mapping from the button list that pops up. This is where you will spend most of your time in the software as you try to find the right configuration for you and the game you are designing a profile for. Now, as I said previously, you can only remap the 6 extra buttons to functions that already exist on the controller and in the game code, with the exception of Razer's focus and agile features. You cannot program macros, as this is a tournament controller that is designed to adhere to competition rules. There are a few options to choose from for the Chroma Lighting strip, but the actual configuration is very limited. Just select the style of lighting you want and the color choice if available. Focus allows you to reduce the sensitivity of the thumbsticks. In here you can decrease the sensitivity of each stick individually and even turn off the focus function for one of the sticks if you want to. For example, you may want to slow down your aim on the right stick to get a pixel perfect angle, but keep your left stick at a normal sensitivity so that you can keep moving at a normal speed. Agile allows you to increase the sensitivity of the thumbsticks. In here you can increase the sensitivity of each thumbstick individually and even turn off the agile function for one of the sticks if you want to. For example, you may want to perform quick flicks on the right stick to get a fast headshot, but keep your left stick at a normal sensitivity so that you can keep moving at a normal speed. Vibration is the kind of thing you either like or don't like in a controller. I personally like it. However, too much vibration can make your hand go numb or interfere with your fine adjustments of the thumbsticks. Here you can adjust the strength of vibration independently. As you move each slider, the corresponding rumble motor will vibrate to give you an idea of the maximum amount of rumble to expect in game. You can even turn off rumble if you like. Finally, once you've configured the perfect setup for the game of your choice, you save it with the name and apply it to either the green or blue slot in the controller software. You can then switch profiles using the Quick Control panel. The Quick Control panel will light up in the relevant color so you know exactly which profile is loaded. Once the profile is loaded, there are 3 more steps that you take. Number 1, exit the software. Number 2, load your game. Number 3, destroy your opponents. Whilst the software is good, I find it quite clunky. When using sliders, you can't rapidly move them left to right. You have to pause between each notch on the slider. Also, to change a setting, you highlight the option, let's say a slider, then you have to press the A button to move the slider, then press A again to accept the change. This seems logical, but when you see it on the screen in front of you, it doesn't match up with what your eyes show you. When you highlight a slider, it looks like you can just move it, but you can't. I also have a problem with the fact that regardless of what profiles you have loaded, the software just shows you the words slot 1 or slot 2 next to the colors, not the name of the profile assigned. You have to highlight the slot, look at the setup, and try to remember what game it's for. There is no escaping it. This controller is f***ing expensive. In the UK, you may find it for £149.99 if you look in the right place, but the RRP is £159.99. That's a lot of money. Let's not forget this is a wired controller, so there are no built-in batteries or wireless tech bumping that price up. You could almost buy 4 standard controllers for the cash you would spend on this. Not that you can use 4 at once of course, but you could at least play with 3 friends. You could buy an Elite controller and a new game. This is a big investment and you need to be sure that this is the right controller for you if you are going to buy one, or you need to just have a lot of disposable income. I've struggled to get used to this controller. I'm not convinced that the 4 additional triggers on the back of the controller are in quite the right position. Not for me anyway. It's not completely natural and it feels like they are there more as an option for the user rather than as a must-use. You can hold the controller like any other controller and forget that the 4 triggers are there. If you want to press one, you just extend a finger and you can press it. For me though, I use a controller like this because I want to always be using the triggers. This means I need to hold it differently to a standard controller and stretch my fingers a bit, resting my fingertips on the triggers. It's not an awful experience, it's just different and sometimes that takes getting used to. It does mean though that sometimes my fingertips slip off the trigger or I don't press the trigger properly due to my hand positioning. Also, by holding it in this way, it gets a little uncomfortable on my middle finger. The 2 extra bumpers are really nice, they feel great to press, though again, in order to press them without accidentally pushing a bumper at the same time, a change in finger resting position is needed to make sure you clear the standard bumpers as you press the additional bumpers with your fingertips. When it comes to the A, B, X, Y buttons, pressing these are more like clicking a mouse button than pressing your standard A, B, X, Y button. This is a really nice feeling, but there are times when I misclick as it feels like you need to press the button firmly in the middle of it. If you press the edge of the button, there is a risk of the press not registering. The cable that comes with the controller is pretty long and it has proven no issue for me when gaming. Sure, wireless has been the standard for years now, and it is a little frustrating unraveling a wire when I want to play, then winding it up again when I'm done, but actually playing with the cable attached has been fine. Something I noticed when I first played Rainbow Six Siege with the Wolverine is that the stick sensitivity felt a lot faster. I've got no idea why this is. Maybe the sticks are looser than my Elite, but I would like to believe that it's truly because of the cable and the no latency caused by wireless connectivity factors. It's not an issue, it's just something you need to get used to and adjust to. It might be my imagination, I don't know. All of this is likely a case of my hands or brain not really being compatible with the Wolverine. However, what I can guarantee is an issue with the controller itself is the stick drift. I have seen many people complain about this with another controller on the market calling it trash, but it is not limited to that controller. The Wolverine does it too, and what you're seeing on screen now is video evidence that it's there and can easily be replicated. A slight movement on the left stick causes the player character to constantly move in that direction at a slow speed with no further input from the player. In Rainbow Six Siege you can fix this by adjusting the dead zone a little, as shown on the screen now, but I shouldn't have to do this. It happens so frequently in the game that it's really annoying, and having to change the dead zones takes away the whole zero latency factor. So what does all of this add up to? What's my actual view of this controller? Let's take a look at some of the things I like first. The triggers are nice to press and seem more shallow than standard even without the head triggers enabled. The buttons by the triggers are nice to press and fairly well placed. Grips seem like they won't peel off. RGB lighting. The ABXY buttons, they're a nice font and style with shallow travel. The head trigger switches are easy to use. You can remap the remappable buttons to almost any other button on the controller. Focus and agile, even though I lack the skill to use them. Now let's take a look at some of the things that I'm not quite so into. You can only remap the additional buttons. The additional trigger button placements are a little uncomfortable to reach and not completely natural. Pressing them with the fingertips means that quite often I don't actually press them. When pressing the buttons by the bumpers, it's easy to press a bumper accidentally, though they are well placed. Requires quite a specific grip of the controller to use the additional buttons frequently. It's wired, the price. The grip shape is not as natural or comfortable to me as a regular controller. Cannot create custom mappings, such as pressing an M button triggers a combination of buttons, for example. Frequent stick drift that can be replicated. Overall, I would say this is a good controller that certainly brings a lot of benefits to you if you can get to grips with it and the button layout. The cost of it though, the cost of it. Yes, it's expensive compared to other controllers on the market, and whilst I personally don't feel that the controller gives me £160 worth of benefits in my gameplay, there are no doubt people out there that will buy this and will feel that the cost is justified. I do strongly recommend trying before you buy or checking the returns policy before you part with your money for one of these controllers. There are cheaper options out there that offer just as much functionality. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Do you think you will pick up a Wolverine controller? Do you own a Wolverine controller? Let me know in the comments if this review has helped you or any other thoughts that you've got on the Wolverine controller itself. As you're still here, I can only assume you have enjoyed this video. If so, then please remember to hit that like button. Also remember to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to ensure you don't miss out on any new videos as they go live. Soon I will start working on a video comparison of the Wolverine with the Microsoft Elite controller, so make sure you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll have more coming your way real soon.